All right. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, sorry about that. I had the I'm literally am trying something I haven't tried before, and that is um, running on Kick and YouTube at the same time, but through two different sources so that I can shut down the camera over here, or I can put up a shield so that I I don't have to. Am I muted over here too? Let me check. I should not be muted. All right, got it. All right, so I've got everything I think set. So we've got. Let me make sure that I'm on the right channels. I'm on Gun Prattle, and I'm on Unreasonable Man, and I'm on Kick, all at the same time. Sorry, guys. This is me kind of trying to figure this out. I don't actually know that I'm still on Kick because Kick is not really working for me right now. Oh, there it is. Oh, my whole screen just went kind of weird. It's not. All right, so I can't be live on Kick. I can't do it this way and be live on Kick and YouTube at the same time. I'm going to have to figure something out. I'm not going to be handling any guns today anyway, guys. So if you haven't already, go over to the Gun Prattle TV on Kick and subscribe, and that way you'll see it when it comes through. Now, the sorry, this is really rough, and this will not be entered in. I'm not going to post this. I will clip this off at some point. But what's up, How Long Nate and Doomsday? What's up? How Long Nate sends in a super awesome buddy. Thank you, How Long. And I need to go promote this, but I haven't yet, so I will do so shortly. All right, there we go. How Long Nate? Whoops. Yo Grid, perfect stream to catch you on. Last we talked, you said you would get me straightened out. So let's see it. What do you need to be straightened out on? I will help you. I will help you with whatever that you need to work with. Guys, if you have not already done it, please go over to the Gun Prattle link and become a subscriber over there. I'll drop that link now. So let's get it going on. All right, here's a link to Gun Prattle. That's the show that you are on right now. And that will be that'll be what we do with these gun prattles. So what we're going to talk about a couple of different things today. First, we've got to talk about this situation in Minneapolis with the guy, his concealed carry, and all of that stuff. That's really super important. A lot of people have been covering it. I saw Coleon Noir covered it earlier. Bluetooth hole punch is not up to standard. Apparently, my Bluetooth hole punch is not up to standard. What Bluetooth hole punch do you have? You can say firearm, you can say gun, you can say Colt, you can say whatever. You just can't show them. Or actually, you can't show them, you just can't touch them. You cannot touch them. No touchy. I have guns everywhere, but they're not. We can't touch them. So, and we'll get into some of SHOT Show if you guys want to. We can talk about some of the stuff there. But mainly what we're going to talk about right now is what we have to talk about right now is the Democrats talking up this guy in Minneapolis who has, for whatever stupid ass reason, decided to take a firearm, his legally owned firearm. I'm not bitching that he shouldn't have had, that he couldn't own it or anything. He took his legally owned firearm into a situation where he intended to cause a little hate and discontent. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you that as someone that carries a gun literally everywhere, I mean literally everywhere, that there aren't metal detectors or body searches. Google will not let me with my speech to text, but it's an old undocumented 9 that will not cycle without heavy loads. Undocumented 9. What brand? What brand of 9mm? Is it a Glock? We can talk about that. I'm happy to talk to you about that stuff. At any rate, so this guy, Pretty, I've been calling him Pretty. I'm going to continue to do so. Apparently, Pretty, he carried his legally owned firearm. It's a SIG, a P320 combat, which is just an actually, I don't think I'm very curious if it's actually called the combat. My understanding is that it's a compact, not a combat. I can understand the discrepancy, but it could be. Looked like it was really well set up. It had an optic, a red dot, no big deal there. That's totally fine. There were some other things that he had it in a inside the waistband holster. Perfectly comfortable with that. So where do I think that he goes wrong? Okay, it's easy. It's actually really easy. Where he went wrong is he had this. Where he goes wrong is he involves himself with law enforcement. Now, I know that there's a lot of people like, well, that's no big deal. Why does that matter? Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Well, look, here's the thing. You just simply cannot walk up on law enforcement because while you're armed and not let them know. They're going to react negatively to that. He did not walk up to that officer and say, hey, stop that. Don't push that lady, or, hey, you don't have to push that lady, or whatever. We actually can't hear what he says, but it doesn't seem that he says that. He inserts himself between the officer and the woman. We've all seen that. At whatever point, the officer decides a Mason. And that's fine. I don't know if he deserved to be maced. Look, I'm not a cop. I don't work the streets. That's something also that you kind of fight in court, not on the side of the road. But at no point did he inform the officers that he had a firearm. Okay. That's probably not that big a deal. It's probably not that big a deal. It might be. It's probably not. Now, the real issue is him knowing that he is armed, knowing that he is carrying a weapon, extra magazines, which that's fine. I don't understand the fixation on the fact he had the extra magazines. Okay. I carry one extra mag with my firearm. I should probably carry two. I know people that carry two. Most people I know carry the um, the weapon with the loaded mag, and then maybe an extended mag or something like that as their um, backup. So what Pretty did wrong here, my opinion, is he went out there armed, intending to get in the way of law enforcement. And this is just a bad plan. It just is. And maybe it had worked out for him in the past. Maybe, in the past he had gone to protest or whatever, and he was able to be an activist and stay out of trouble and not get in, not get involved with these officers. But in this case, it doesn't seem like that was the case because he purposefully inserted himself into the situation. Okay. He could have continued to film from the street, and he could have, he could have just shouted at the officers to behave themselves. There were many, many things that he could have done, should have done, that would have not led up or been much less likely to have led up to what happened. Okay. So I've said this since the start. I've been watching multiple videos from multiple different creators, different news sources. The one thing I think that we all agreed on is that when you are armed, you ought not go and involve yourself with law enforcement, especially as a combatant. Okay. You ought not do that. Now, can you? Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. Why would you not do that? Right? Why would you not? Just don't do it while you're armed. The minute you're interacting with law enforcement, I'm just telling you guys, the minute I interact with law enforcement, the first things out of my mouth are, I'm armed. I'm carrying a firearm. Literally, first thing. All right, so let's see. Hold on. Nate. SCCY CP2 Preddy. Concealed carrying a firearm without carrying his ID while confronting police equals bad idea. Yeah, so that's actually, apparently in Minnesota, it's actually against the law, and it's a fine and a ticket, or a ticket, maybe a fine. I don't know. If you don't have your CCW and your ID on you, you need both while you're carrying your firearm. If you don't have those two things, by law, you ought not be carrying a firearm, and you will get a ticket if you were caught. Now, it also opens you up to other people doing really bad, or not bad things, but really aggressive things, like cops slamming you against the side of a car because they're trying to verify who this armed person who claims to be legally armed is, and if they are or are not, legally armed, because they don't know you. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to have to talk about, the political reaction to this stuff here in a minute, because I think that, people like Trump and some others in our government have made some statements. Hey, what's up, Orthodox guy? They've made some statements that I think are not only inaccurate, but they are absolutely insane to make. But I see, let me say, they're insane, but kind of understandable why they're saying it. Guys, go over to the Gun Prattle channel and subscribe over there. The link has been posted. What's up, Bandit 848? How the hell are you, man? I saw you a little bit last night on the panel with Speakeasy. What I'm gonna do, guys. I'm getting ready to do like an hour-long kind of monologue about this petty issue and some other things. But for now, I'm just kind of getting my thoughts together and kind of ironing some things out. I welcome all input from the chat while I do this. I'm monitoring both the Gun Prattle and the An Unreasonable Man channels. I understand that not everybody yet is subscribed to Gun Prattle, but please go subscribe to Gun Prattle. Also, go subscribe to Gun Prattle TV on Kick. Go make sure you're subscribed and have your alerts set and everything, because a lot of times, if I'm going to be handling firearms, I'm going to go to Kick to do that. Okay. Anyway, so I saw that we've all seen the various news reports that where Trump says he doesn't like it that this guy was carrying a concealed weapon to the protest. Stand by. Sorry about that. So Trump says he doesn't like it. Well, I don't like it either. Is it his absolute right to carry a firearm, his legally owned but maybe not legally carried firearm, to the protest? Yes, absolutely. That's his right. Is it the smart thing to do? Is it the smart thing to do? And it is not. It really isn't. And the reason it is not the smart thing to do is the same reason why I don't try and walk through TSA with anything gun related on me, because it's going to freak those guys out. But let's just say that that's not really a good reason, because he's legally, just because he might do a big deal, whatever. What's up, Bandit 848? You say that you didn't get a notification for Gun Prattle? Bastards. Haul Long Nate comes in. Another thing that makes a difference is federal agents versus local or state police, different jurisdiction, different thresholds for acceleration of conduct. Yes, sir. You are correct. It is a much different standard of aggression when you're dealing with federal agents versus your local police department. This is also something that needs to be considered. But here's the real crux of the issue, guys. This is, I don't really care about anything else. Everything else is hogwash, except for what I'm about to tell you right now. And that is, if I intend to go cause problems for law enforcement, I'm not going to carry my firearm, legally owned or not. I have no way of controlling the actions of law enforcement. I have no way of knowing if I'm going to get a good cop that's going to sit there and let me yell at him, or a bad cop who's going to mace me in the face. I'm not saying the cop that maced the guy was a bad cop. I'm just saying that often happens. Now, at the same time, if I intend to go protest and I might get involved in an altercation with a non-officer, a counter protester, if I'm armed, in some states, and I'm not sure Minnesota is one of them, in some states, if you're armed and you use any force against someone while you're carrying your weapon that's not self-defense, you can be charged with a felony, whether you use the weapon or not. So this is stupid. This is a very dumb thing to do. This is not smart. Right? This is just not smart at all. Can we all agree on that? That it's just not smart to go to a protest where there might be counter protesters and or law enforcement that you may have an altercation with. Does anyone think the smart thing to do is to carry your firearm into that, knowing that you're going to do it, knowing that you are going to go video, you are going to go harass officers, you're going to be blowing whistles, you're going to, anything could happen. Would you, as a responsibly owned American, carry your firearm into that situation? I'm not really sure that I would. As a matter of fact, most of the time, I carry wherever there's not going to be metal detectors. But I have gone into situations like I went to the state fair earlier this year. I got all the way to the entrance, and sure enough, they had, my camera froze. That is not a good picture. Sorry, guys. A little freezing there. All right. How long Nate is generously once again. Another thing that makes a difference. Oh, no, I've already read that one. Okay, good. Got that one. Threshold of, oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe not. Yep. Yeah, I got that. I already read that one. Good. Gotcha. Yes. All right. So Ghost says he'd be more worried about someone taking my firearm and using it with my name on it. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. That is a very real thing. That is a very real thing. But again, and I'm not really sure that you I'm not really sure in Minnesota if this is the case, but in many states, if you are carrying your firearm and you commit a crime, even just a simple fist fight, misdemeanor, whatever, the fact that you're armed could push it to felony. Okay? That's bad. I just don't see any good argument in this guy's case for taking that weapon to the protest. And I've been thinking about this for a couple of days, because one of the things that that a lot of people they've been drawing a comparison to Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that's a bad comparison, but let's talk about that. Kyle Rittenhouse was not trying to be in the protest. He was away from the protest, where the protest path, right? He brought first aid. He had bottles of water. They were handing things out to people who were kind of fleeing the protest. So they were, I don't know, a few blocks away or whatever, a couple of blocks, I'm not sure. And they were protecting this property that was owned by locals. And all in all, he didn't set out to cause any problems. Now, obviously, he found problems, and he ended up in court over it. And he was exonerated because a preponderance of the evidence showed that he had a reasonable fear for his life, not from law enforcement, but from protesters and vigilantes. I'm not sure we can call them vigilantes, but we'll see. So when we're talking about going out to cause problems, because let's be honest, that's what we're really talking about, are we not? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about taking your gun to the range. We're not talking about carrying your firearm while you're on your way to work every day. We're not talking about having it there as a just in case. And we're not talking about your normal routine. If I set out, so let me ask you, let me just to the chat. I'm strapped up right now, but if I were to walk in the house, strap up, walk out my door, and go down and start yelling at people in Home Depot and looking for someone to fight. I just randomly picked Home Depot. I'm just randomly looking for someone to fight. I carry a sign around that says ban all corporations, whatever. I would be arrested for that. And it would having the firearm on me is an enhancement. It is. Now I'm armed. Viking Paradigm says, yeah, context is not the same, but anyone with media TikTok brain can't see and doesn't care. It's true. Context is very important here, but but the problem is Pretty, I think he actually set out 100% to go pick a fight with somebody. And I'm honestly, so I watched Trump's speech again, or not his speech, but when he's walking across the lawn to the helicopter and he says, yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like it. He had a gun. He had 2 extra mags. He was going to have or be a situation or he was up to no good, basically. I agree with that. I actually really agree with that. Do I think Trump is wrong for saying that he should not take a gun to a protest? No, I don't think so. I think it's reasonable for someone who is just going to go and protest, and you have absolutely zero intent on getting into any kind of altercation. If somebody starts yelling at you, you're going to walk the other way. If people tell you to leave, you're going to leave. If cops are hassling people, you're going to back up and video. You're going to do whatever. But you have zero intent to involve yourself into situations while you're armed. What do we call that? Right? What do we call that? Right? I don't know. I'll let you guys answer the question. I hope that anyone watching this on the VOD, on the playback later is, if you see this part, because I am going to edit this down once I get a good clean chain of thought here. I mean, you have to it just simply has to be the case that his bad decisions mean something. You're not allowed in this world to make a bad decision, especially while you're armed, and dodge all of the consequences. A week or so prior, Alex Preddy had an altercation that resulted in a rib injury. I wonder if this is why some of the people out there have basically portrayed this as suicide by cop. I don't personally think it is, but I can see the argument that it is, in fact, suicide by cop. Right? So I'm very interested in input. I'm very interested in your guys' thoughts, because I think I think my audience is and at least interested in guns audience. I don't think you're gun nuts or anything like that, but I'm the gun nut here. But yeah. You have a responsibility to avoid potentially violent interactions while armed, correct? Because you run the risk of being disarmed and it being used against you or others. I don't think that part is like factual, but yes, that is a consideration, 100%. Yeah, to be clear, you meaning someone that's armed, not you as in your amazing host, me. Yeah, if you are armed, if you're an armed citizen, any armed citizen, unless you are defending yourself or someone else, why do you pull the gun? Why do you do that? And Preddy obviously didn't. I'm kind of putting that there. Let's see. Can somebody document for me that I've got a claim here that Preddy was part of a paramilitary group. He was committing felony obstruction. I do agree that I think that he was, but I understand that not everyone believes that. Felony obstruction of federal officer. He acted as enforcer when coming to the aid of women. I actually don't have too much of a problem with him coming to the aid of the women. I have a problem with how he did it and the aggression that he showed towards an officer who was apparently making an arrest. I have to be honest with you, and we've had other people say, "Hey, this isn't how men act. Men will intercede with women." Yes, he should have been videoing. He should have documented what happened. He should have talked to that officer and said, "Officer, you don't have to do that. What's going on here?" He did not need to physically involve himself. I personally believe that you are the involving yourself physically with an officer is absolutely a terrible idea. It's just a bad idea. But yeah, if they can document that he was part of a paramilitary group, that would be interesting. And definitely he further escalated by resisting arrest. I don't, honestly, again, I'm not willing to assign that he was actually resisting, but he had been pepper sprayed. He was flailing about. He was being told to lay down and prone out. And the fact that he constantly tried to stand up is an aggression. Whether he intended for it to be that way, I don't know. It could have just been a normal reaction. I can't read his intent. Much like the officers, I can only go by what I see, and what I see is someone who is trying to continuously stand up despite being told and physically being guided to go out to prone out. Mikey Balls says, I carry every single day. When I'm out in public, I actually avoid situation and people as much as possible. Yeah, I think that most people who carry a gun every single time. Peace Dynamo says, if you carry, don't resist and invite trouble. That's true, 100%. His clear motive for being there was to impede and or stop the law from doing their job. Yes, I believe that. And that's why I have a problem with him having the gun there. That is the crux. That is a very clear sentence that Viking has put out there. That's a very clear sentence showing why him having the gun there is completely different than Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse had no intention of interfering with law enforcement. He had the gun there strictly as a self-defense mechanism. He had no intent to involve himself in any kind of altercation. The altercation came for him, and by the way, just because you're carrying a gun is no reason someone should make you a target. That's cope. Don't cope like that. And continues on because the media and the left lied to him about why ICE was there. Last I checked, that's still a crime. Yep, absolutely true. He was the sheepdog in the flock. Not really, but okay. I think the Signal Chat organization could okay, I agree with that. I'm really waiting for more information to come out on the Signal Chat. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. The Signal app leak shows that he was on duty. Interesting. Protesters are taught to go limp. Yeah, if he had done that, that'd have been game over. He would have just he'd have been in handcuffs. So, I'm just saying. So at any rate, it's a very interesting dynamic. We got. Didn't we just go over this in the good shooting? If you bring a weapon, be it a vehicle, gun, knife, bit of lumber, etc., to a crowded space where law enforcement action is taking place, it is a crime. The act of having the gun there, not a crime. The act of involving yourself with officers might be a crime. If he had succeeded in his so it's not a crime in and of itself that he had the gun. And I'm not really clear if Minnesota has such a statute. However, it seems obvious to me, and I think federally, there will be a law somewhere that says if you are armed and you are aggressive to officers, if you confront them, if you impede them, confronting, okay, let's take that out of it, right? But if you impede them, if you're giving them problems, it's gonna be a bad day for you, right? I think it's an enhancement. It's like it's instruction. It's obstruction, but at the same time, once he has the weapon, now it's it's an enhancement. Now it's maybe not armed obstruction, but it's definitely it's an enhancement. Ghost says that woman didn't require immediate care. He could have waited. He could have also informed the agents his intentions before approaching. Absolutely, that honestly true. Yeah, the crime is impeding a federal operation. The enhancement's going to be while armed. If it were me, right? Let's say that it's not Pretty, and it's me, and I go down there, and I obviously have my firearm on me. I'm, just stroll up. I see an officer trying to arrest someone. I don't think that person should be arrested. Maybe they're being a little rough with that person. I don't like it, so I go over and I obstruct while I'm armed. I'll survive because I'm not stupid enough to do something bad enough to get shot by law enforcement. But in the deal, it's going to be when the second I reveal that I'm armed, they're going to take my gun and then they're going to add that as an enhancement to the original crime. So all right. So just if you've just come in, what I'm doing here is I'm spitballing. And trying to get my thoughts together, because one of the big things that a lot of people are talking around but not talking about is you have the politicians coming out saying that they don't like that this guy was armed and they have a problem with it and it's wrong. And a lot of people are seeing that as they're anti-Second Amendment. I disagree. I think what they are is they're being pro-ICE. They're not being pro-Second Amendment, but they're not really being anti-Second Amendment either. They're just being pro-ICE. I'll forgive them that. It's fine. Minnesota law requires you have ID on you, same as a car. Yes, I understand that. Yes, I've mentioned that many times, Viking. It's like a $25 ticket, but it's still breaking the law, right? And he was, in fact, not carrying legally at the time all of this went down, and he knowingly did it. Here's the problem. This is the issue that I have, ladies and gentlemen. I am an understanding man. I have a lot of I can have a lot of empathy, and I understand how things work, and I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to take this any specific direction. However, I want you all to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that this young man was a member of some group that was anti-ICE, conservatism, really, but that's okay. He apparently was a follower of Antifa. I've seen some evidence of that. I'm not going to say 100%. I will say apparently. And one of the things that Antifa is known for is they do not they tell you not to bring your ID to these protests. It makes it harder for the law enforcement to ID you. If they ask you for ID, you say I don't have it. Then they run your name and all of that, and it may take, and they may just not want to fool with you. So that's a tactic that's used. Fair enough. The problem is that Minnesota requires that ID and the CCW to legally carry your firearm. Now, I'm not saying that is correct. I live in a constitutional carry state. I carry everywhere. I carry open. I carry concealed. I don't need anything. I don't need anything with me when I'm carrying my firearm unless I cross a state line. Okay. Now, he did. That's his local law. He violated his local laws. Now, is it a big deal? Not really. It's a $25 ticket, is my understanding, and you can't carry, and you might have your CCW revoked. Okay, but it's not a felony. However, all of this combined leads me to believe again that this guy had 100%. This guy had every intent of showing up to this event and causing problems. He did not show up to this event to be cool, to protest, maybe make a little noise with a whistle or something, and then go home. This guy, I'm trying really hard not I'm really trying hard not to prescribe a lot to this guy, but it seems very obvious to me that this was his intent. His intent was to go to this protest, follow these officers around while they're trying to effect searches with warrants and find people. And by doing so, he was therefore impeding and obstructing their operation while armed. Now, again, I never heard him say, "Hey, officer, I'm armed." He did not bring a medical kit like Rittenhouse. If he had one, he might have lived. But so I don't like it when people draw parallels between Rittenhouse and this guy. This guy shows step by step and obviously intent to involve himself in what's going on. and not just involve himself by standing on a street corner and shouting or waving his sign or whatever. So this is, you know, it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard not to agree with that. Anybody got anything else about this that they'd like to kind of bring up, kind of points to make, observations, your personal viewpoint, your personal feelings? We'll talk about my feelings right now. Not my feelings, but other people's feelings. But factually, Helping Hand, no, he did not, in fact, bring a medikit. Right. That is correct, Stephen Akari. This guy did fight with the law. Rittenhouse kept trying to surrender. Nobody would listen to him. That's true. Any other observations on this guy? Anybody want to argue? Does anybody have a problem with what I'm saying? Dennison, are you out there? Do you want to yell at me about this? Do you think that I'm wrong? Does anybody think that I'm way the fuck off base? Yeah. Correct. How long, Nate? Both. Here's the common ground between Rittenhouse and Preddy. The troublemakers are the ones that got shot. Have I seen any of the lawyer reviews? I've seen 3 different lawyer reviews. One was 100% Preddy fucked up. One was, I'm not going to make a decision. I'm just going to give you. I'm going to give you the facts. He ignored a lot. And the third was that, you know, it was very wishy-washy, but they got to the conclusion they wanted, which was Preddy, you know, that this was that the Border Patrol agents were not 100% operating within the Constitution. Yeah. Do you have something, Kung Fu Joe? Do you have anything on this that you'd like to add? By the way, if you're just joining us, this is on 2 channels because I have this is my Gun Prattle show. This is normally on a channel called Gun Prattle on Kick and YouTube. However, I have it on the Unreasonable Man channel because I need to grow Gun Prattle, and way more people come to my Unreasonable Man channel. So please go to Gun Prattle TV or Gun Prattle TV on Kick, and this link will take you to Gun Prattle. Please go and like, subscribe, do all of the things. Okay. Zach says we can debate his criminality till we're blue in the face. The bottom line is they, the left, don't care what laws they're breaking and aren't keeping score. That's actually true. They think they're revolutionaries now. This is more true than I think it ought to be, and it's interesting that you drew that comparison. Allegedly, the firearm Preddy had was a SIG P320. Literally everyone on that city block is in danger. Just kidding, SIG. Don't sue me. No, the SIGs aren't that. I mean, I just finished shooting my SIG. I just got back from the range, folks. I had a great day out on the range today. It was wonderful, and not on the outdoor range. It's still the Winter Wonderland over here. So I was not in the I was not fortunate enough to I was not fortunate enough to be on the outdoor range today. I would have, but it's like when I left the house, it was like 24 degrees or 25 degrees or something. I was like, nope, not this young man. So yeah. All right. Anybody have any other observations about this? This will be really good. I only have one left, but I've had a lot of SIG P320s. So we'll get into that. We'll start some real gun prattle here in a minute. But I am very interested in everyone's opinions, because I think that I just think that it's so interesting how these knuckleheads can't get anything right. Have I seen Wick versus Rob Noor? I did. We can talk about that, Joe, on the Unreasonable Man channel later tonight when I get much more political. 24 be a heat wave. That sucks, dude. Now they have politicians media making and think that even more. Yeah, my SIG P320 that I'm using that I shot today, it started out life as an X carry, which is already a kind of a premium P320, much like the one that Pretty had. It is since, I've gone through a lot of different versions of it. Right now, it's got a SIG factory X5 tungsten grip or tungsten powder grip. It's got the X5 slide. It's basically an X5. It's got the Armory Craft trigger in it. The trigger is really good for what it is now. And it's got I think it's got it does. It has a SIG Romeo 1 red dot on it. And it's really, really, really cool. Just past the I-840 turnoff to, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm right off 840. So, yeah, I've had, and here's my journey with the SIG P320. So I started with P320s that were just normal guns, and I really, really wanted to like the SIG P320. I wanted to like that gun so much. You just don't know. Pardon me. Pardon me. I absolutely wanted to love the SIG so bad. Just so bad. But the problem is the trigger sucked. It was just, it was plasticky. It felt like more like a Glock than anything else. And I don't like Glocks that much. I've got one finally that I really like. And there's just like a lot of, the thing is I would constantly compare it to the CZ P10 or P09, which are also plastic pistols. I constantly comparing it to these guys or to these other guns, and it just fell short. So I would buy one, keep it for a while. They weren't particularly accurate, and I get rid of it. Buy another one, same deal, keep it for a while, because I would be like, I'd buy one, I'd keep it for 4 or 5 months, I'd be like, I don't like it that much, and I'd sell it, and then about 6 months to a year later, I would I'd get one. I'd buy another one, same, and just the cycle repeated until I got the one I have now. Now, I never had a single problem with any of my other ones. I never had a drop test issue. I never had, of course, I throw my guns in barrels. So if anybody's going to have a problem with a gun going off on impact, it's this guy right here. And never, I threw those things. I throw pistols in barrels all the time at a full run. I've never had one go off. Yet. Now, I have had safeties come off, but that's another subject. I think that there is a problem with the SIG P320. I think a big problem is that if you depress the trigger with anything, I don't care if it's a keys or shirt tail or the holster fits tight in a specific place. I actually have a theory on this. I don't know about the light bearing holster deal and all that, but I think if you put any pressure on that trigger in a holster where the gun's torquing around, I think it can go off in the holster. I do believe that. Whether or not, whether I could prove it, I don't know. Let's talk about, we got some questions here. What gun do I recommend as a first gun for home protection? If it is truly your very first firearm, I think you can't go wrong with a 22 pistol. I would start with the Ruger. I personally like the 22/45 lights or trail lights. Pardon me. And I personally love those. I think they're great. But any Ruger 22 pistol, like the single stack ones, they have a new one out too. I think that works pretty well. But I would just stick with the same old Mark II, 22/45, that sort of thing. I love those guns. The SIG, and I don't know what number it is, but the SIG makes a 22 pistol that's just really awesome. And so does Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson M&P 22 is crazy good. And just buy one, enjoy shooting it, and then that will teach you the skills, and then step up, and then haunt some gun shops and find what you like. If you're just got to have center fire right out of the gate, a good first pistol, in my opinion, is a Glock. I think you can't really fuck up with a Glock. They're going to hit it if they're weird. They have a weird grip angle. I don't like the grip angle, and I don't like the recoil impulse. There's a lot I don't like about it, but you can train around all of that. And if you do your job, they will hit what you aim at 100%. There's no problems with their barrels or accuracy. And if you're just looking for a first gun in general, a lot of people will say shotgun. I don't think that's ever a good choice. Shotguns are, they have recoil. They're going to beat you up a little bit. You will never practice with one because of the, you're just not going to practice with one. My go-to home defense firearm right now is a very short AR with a suppressor on it. So make of that what you will. Oh, you did say for home protection. So for home protection, I would go with just a standard AR. If you can if you want to bump up for a suppressor, they're cheap now. Put a suppressor on it. Chances are, if it's truly for home protection, you're not going to have ear pro in, and there's no point in going deaf in your house. I would do a red dot. Very simple gun, the shortest one that you're comfortable with, and is legal in your area. Just any good, 16-inch or 14.5 with a pinned brake and suppressor on it, be fucking great. So that would be my go-to home protection gun, because you can't fuck it up. It's just really hard. I've got Hallong Nate says he is not a fan of how law enforcement treats constitutional carry, but these idiots showing up with weapons to confront federal agents in the course of their duty are morons. Yes, correct. Absolutely, 100%. I'm way behind chat, guys. I apologize. Stephen Akari says, oh, wait a minute. He's talking to Diecast. Yeah, they plan to lock us up if they win. Good luck with that, guys. What's my thoughts on the Glock Gen 6? I don't have any. I'm not a Glock guy. I have them because, everybody's got a Glock, but I'm not a fan. I think they're good guns. I don't have any. I think they're fine. But there's a lot of really good guns out there, and for less money. The Daria DA9, I think is what they call it, is sweet. And I like the grip on the Daria better than the Glock. So look into that. Yeah. Been a lot of misfire lawsuits. Yeah, and they've all lost. The important thing about the misfire lawsuits is they've all lost, because even when they hire an outside expert and lab to test these things, including the FBI, they've all come up with the trigger has to be depressed for that gun to fire. You can't get around it. And I mean, lab after lab after lab. So let's see. We've got Taurus went through this too. SIG will be all right, especially with law enforcement contracts. Yeah. Well, they've got the Army contract. Who gives a shit? Yeah, but no. The way the SIG works, you even with manufacturing tolerances, there's with the firing pin lock in place, which is deactivated by the trigger being pulled back to the backwards. It doesn't take much, but in some guns, but the firing pin physically can't come forward unless a trigger is displaced. It physically can't do it. Why a 22? Yeah, the P322. Yeah. Oh, you have experience firing all kinds of guns? Okay. All right. Yeah. You don't own a Glock. The RXM is a great gun. I have one of those. It's a great gun. And look into the Magpul stuff for the RXM. It's coming out. It's really cool. Is the cleaning based on how much you use it? No, it's how much I don't use it. If I'm using a gun all the time, I mean, I'll clean twice a season, maybe. It depends on how, if I start getting carbon buildup or something, it needs to get cleaned. But if I'm not using the gun, that's when they collect lint. That's when the oil dries out. That's when the oil you can have some gun oils would turn gummy and sticky. So if I don't fire a gun for a while, I clean it. And then I re-oil it and I put it away. If I'm using that gun regularly, I almost never clean my guns. So, yeah, being legal is a very large concern when it comes to home defense. Absolutely. First gun, you have to start with a Red Ryder like we all did. Hey, you know what? I might have a picture. Let me see. I might have something for this. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it, guys. If I can't find it, you guys are really gonna like this. It's very funny. If I don't have it, it's fine too. Change glasses. The Red Ryder. That's right. I'm way behind chat. You still have your Red Ryder? Isn't it Glock Gen 6? It can take switches. 100%. 100%. It wasn't even on store shelves when they were putting it. You still have your Red Ryder BB gun? Yeah, why would you not? Why would you not? I have a great picture of I'll get, if I can find it, I'll throw it out there. Just bear with me. But yeah, so it's interesting. You guys have made a lot of really good points about Pretty and this whole happening going on. It's very interesting to me that we've gotten there. What do you guys think about? And I'm just kind of spitballing here, just trying to trying to understand everything that we're kind of talking about here. What do you think that when Bovino's talking about the guy bringing the gun and considering him armed, do you guys? So the way, I'm not going to tell you the way I read it, but how do you read what Bovino said initially? Because the way the libs project it is one thing. The way I see it is another. I'm very interested in how you guys see it. That last Christmas. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I didn't actually. I use a lot of Lucas gun oil products. I like the Lucas family. Did I meet Ralphie? No, I did not meet Ralphie. That talk is not helpful at all. Right. I agree with you. I think I understand what Bovino was thinking. I just want to see if anybody else is even on the same page, or if I'm just completely out to fucking lunch on it. Because I have when he said it, I had like a knee-jerk reaction, like I'm sure most of us did. And then I was like, wait a minute. Claiming Petty brought a gun and 2 magazines to inflict maximum damage is nonsense, not speculation. I would agree with you. Anybody else? Come on, guys, give me something here before I throw my opinion out there. One thing I haven't seen a whole lot of people mention is the battlefield conditions. In martial arts, you learn not to pick a fight in the snow. Right. It's slippery. Doubly so if you have a gun. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's something to that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're not wrong at all. You are not wrong at all. I don't know why. I mean, obviously we will never know. But it boggles my mind that Pretty did what he did. I'm going to be honest. It just boggles my mind. Like there's no, it just, like, I've been trying to understand it. I've been trying to get from here to there, as they say. And I can't get there. I just can't get there. And I've been trying. I really have. I've really been trying to understand, this deal with, what Pretty was trying to do. And because, and one of the reasons is because I was kind of called out on the other night on, not being a, I was kind of called out the other night, that the, not being more on Pretty's side. Right. And, because, he was a gun owner, and I'm like, well, I don't agree with all gun owners. Second man could be attributed to intent. If one mag isn't enough for personal defense, what's a second mag going to do for you? I mean, I always carry 2 myself. It is somewhat odd to bring so much ammo to a peaceful protest. All right, so before I get in there, I got to show you guys this. Kung Fu Joe, my man. I got to show you this because, when we're talking Red Riders, okay, we start them young around here, brother. We start them young. We start them young, sir. We start them young. We start them young. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. Red Rider, the great tamer of the West. So here's my viewpoint on the on Bovino's speech. I think that, well, first of all, it's an ICE. You have to understand it's ICE positive speech, right? Like it's not pro gun, it's or anti gun, it's pro ICE or Border Patrol in this case. Beyond that, you have to understand that I think he had already decided that this guy was up to no good. This guy went there to that protest to engage and cause some kind of disturbance and potentially harm physically Border Patrol agents. or acting as ICE agents. So, there's no, to me, I actually think Bovino makes a solid point. Right? The guy did bring a gun and 2 loaded mags extra, right? That's 3 total, which is what the gun ships with, by the way. It's not like he went out and bought extra mags. He, that's just how many he has. It's how the gun comes. And to me, that does kind of frame in this idea that there was some intent there to cause problems and to be prepared, you might say, for problems. And I think this guy was a fucking idiot. I think this guy was a complete moron. Not Bovino. I think Bovino actually makes a solid point. Oh, you like that, Kung Fu Joe? Yeah. What's up? Ghost things are about to respawn. Could be. Could be. Zach, that's funny. I don't know if I saw it. Do you think being a member of this Ice Wash group with elaborate communication? I did ask about that earlier, and I didn't get a large response from the audience. But here's the thing: do I think that being a part of the Ice Watch group is the Ice Watch group a paramilitary group? I don't know. I don't know if they're used training with weapons. I don't know if they would fall under paramilitary. Any of the current definitions of such, they may. I don't know what kind of training they're doing. I don't know what anything. Right? They could see themselves as a modern militia. That would be very interesting, actually, to see if this group that Pretty belongs to is actually considers itself a militia of sorts, or could be considered a militia by a reasonable observer. That would be an exceedingly interesting, to me, thing to know. The press probably will never address that, because if I were the press, that would be the very last thing that I would, very, very last thing that I'd want to cover is the fact that this guy is part of any organization that could be defined in any way as paramilitary. Yeah. Draven says, I have to agree the agents are already in a stressful situation. If you come to a protest with a firearm, you're just asking for trouble. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Ice Watch. Yep, gotcha. I'll look into it. So do they teach orienteering? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. They probably teach advanced Google Fu. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, while we are not sponsored by them, I want you to understand that if you are a shooter and you need glasses, or you're like me and you wear kind of a weak prescription, mostly for reading, or normal reading glasses, and I have a prescription for reading glasses, and especially for shooting, if you need glasses to go shoot, you got to get Hunter's HD Gold. Brian down there is a wizard. They're an actual ophthalmologist. They actually make glasses on like in-house. They understand everything there is about shooting, to understand what kind of shooting you're doing and how to make your glasses fit. These are what I'm wearing right now. These are their auto darkening yellow tinted lenses, which are amazing. To have yellow tinted lenses for low light and that tint to a decent shade, or at least a decent level of darkening. And so I can use them outside and I don't have to change. I don't have to do anything. Don't have to pop lenses out, nothing. They're great, really amazing. And this pair has actually been run over. My son dropped them out of my truck. I didn't see them. I backed the truck up, ran right over them, broke the old frames. These are new frames. And so on. So goes the war. And so, yeah. Several government employees and officials are participating in the Signal group. Wow. I don't know that makes it state sponsored, but that's pretty crazy. BSA still teaches orienteering. My son has the orienteering merit badge. He's on his way to Eagle if he'll get his shit together. All right. Does anybody have anything about firearms or firearm accessories they'd like to talk about? If I've now watched, by the way, all of the videos for Petrie, and I mean all of them. And I've watched several different versions of it, as shown by Officer Tatum. I've watched. I just finished watching one from the what is it? What does he call himself? The civil rights lawyer. I watched it. I've watched the civil rights lawyers take on it. I've watched Coleon War's take on it. I've watched a bunch of different people's takes on this shooting. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. Some of them I agree with part way. I think a lot of people are being very lazy about it, and that's why I'm still talking about it in this way. Yeah. Militia, heck no, I just get together with 150 of my best friends and go plinking on a regular basis. Absolutely. And camping. Don't forget camping. Camping is a bonding experience for young men. All right. Yes, he's an Eagle. He's working towards Eagle right now. Yeah. All right, well, let's talk some guns. Let's talk SHOT Show and some guns, and then I'll fade back into talking about Pretty. Well, now that I've got my thoughts together on it, so it can be a nice little 15-minute segment that I can publish. Law of self-defense. Andrew Branca is the best in your humble opinion. I'll take a look at it. Send me a link over on the Discord. Yet nobody's changed my opinion on this. Yeah, nobody. So Flow State the other night was like, what color? What's your favorite type of boot to lick? And I'm like, well, I'm not a boot licker, but I understand that this guy did not get murdered. Now I'm going to double down. This guy did not get murdered. Look, we're America. We murk a lot of people. It's almost a pastime. I mean, in Chicago, it could be considered a pastime. They see a pump action pirate pistol. I've seen a bunch of really cool stuff. Especially at SHOT Show, a bunch of stuff. Let's talk SHOT Show, guys, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the Pretty thing again. And I don't know how I'll wrap this up. So why would your SSCY CP2? Hang on, let me look that up. SCCY. CB2. CPX2. Oh, I got this one. I understand. So, all right, I'm going to. So, there are two things. How many rounds do you have through this gun, my man? Yeah, I saw it at shot. I saw there's another really cool pump action rifle, like is like almost like an AR that was pump action. It was really cool. Okay, so how long, Nate? How long have you had it? How many rounds are through it? Let's start there. Also, do you have the Tiffany blue framed one? Just curious. I think there's a big lag between what I say and what you guys hear. The knife videos, there were a ton of knives, man. Savivi was there, Benchmade. There were a lot of knives, man. A lot of knives. I didn't make any videos while I was at SHOT Show. I should have. I thought about it, but the problem is that the people that were trying to make videos this year at SHOT Show were fucked because the noise at SHOT Show was insane. And I watched a couple of people try and do videos, and it was terrible. Also, we had I did a I sat in on a podcast every day, so I didn't really care. How long? I know you're busy. He may not have signal right now, but just looking at this looks like kind of a clone of a Keltec. And I know why. I mean, I can tell you right now, part of the reason why it's not going to do that very well. I can tell you. I think chat's like really, really behind today for some reason. While he's doing that, let's talk about SHOT Show. So SHOT Show, there were a couple of things that I really, really liked at SHOT Show. First, the new Steyr, the new Steyr pistols are awesome. So they basically have a modular pistol where you can interchange frames and slides from a double action pistol for carry and a single action pistol for competition. The single action pistols are meant for competition, and they are hand tuned, not hand. It doesn't look like they're hand fitted, but kind of. 3,000 magazines worth. That's a lot. So you've shot it a lot. I was going to say, if it hasn't been shot a lot, it may need to be broken in. So the most obvious thing, with a pistol that's not cycling is either this, if it's just not cycling without heavy rounds. In general, there's a couple of things. I kind of would need to know what the specific failure is, and then I can maybe help you with it. But if it cycles fine with heavy loads, just use heavy loads. The newer video. Okay, cool. Thank you. I got the DM there. Thank you. I'll watch that. Yeah, 3,000 mags worth. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot around. I mean, most people. I mean, it should be well broken in, but my guess is that if you're not running it dry and you're not using grease instead of oil, a lot of people use grease instead of oil, and that's bad, and especially in pistols. Um, then it could be a spring issue. It could be there's a couple of different things it can be. Yeah, well, no, that would be my guess. That would be my guess. I mean, that's 30,000 rounds through a subcompact or a compact size pistol. So that's a lot, but that's a lot for that pistol. All right. Well, anyway, so the other thing about shot that was really cool. Let's see. So the Steyr pistols were really cool. The single double action pistols, they have released the STL files so you can print your 3D print your own grips, which I think that's kind of bitching, kind of cool. It was the year of the suppressor. I said this the other night. There's so many suppressors there, it was crazy. There was a big caliber rifle that had a barrel that reciprocated, so it's like a short stroke action. And there was a lot of cool stuff. And a lot of stuff that's just normal. There was all the same clothing companies. There were all the same gear companies. There were all the same pistols, all the same rifles that we see every year. So, which is good. I mean, I kind of like that. Kind of like it. There was someone stabbed at SHOT Show. Now, I don't think they were with SHOT Show, but it happened in the lobby or something. Maybe not lobby. It's not the right word, but it happened in a kind of a public area, and it looks like it was two brothers, and one guy stabbed the other through the arm. Keep using the heavy loads than my friends do who shoot 45 do not like recoil. Okay. What you have that in 9 millimeter? All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and move into the failure fees, mag, spring, or spacing. Yeah, that's true. Well, if it's not cycling, it could be friction. It could be barrel. I mean, there's a ton of things, but if it just needs heavy rounds, it may not be unlocking very well. It could be a spring problem. It could be a barrel link problem. I don't know if it's got a barrel link. It could be a barrel link problem. That's a very interesting question. What else did I see at SHOT that is really cool? Well, let's see. Uh, A lot of stuff, man. I mean, it's just kind of hard. I like all the Daria stuff. Daria's new um, uh, Max 12 shotgun is pretty legit. It's pretty freaking legendary. Um, so look for that, especially in the future. I'm going to do something with them, I think, in the future. There were a ton of 2011s there. There were a ton of Glocks and Glock clones there. I think everybody, now that the patent or license is run out on the Glock, I want you guys to understand that the switch, while I think the move from the Gen 5 to the Gen 6 is less important than you think it is, because basically the patent or licensing had run out on the Glock mechanism. And so basically people were starting to clone it. A lot of them. And so I personally think Glock tactically made the Gen 6 just different enough that they had to file a new patent and now and trademark, and now people can't clone the Gen 6 Glock. That's what I think. I think that they were just kind of cutting bait, because there's so many Glock clone competitors that do so well in the market. The Dario is one of them. The SAR 9 is legit. That's I didn't really want to like it, but it's pretty cool. The SAR 7, if you're looking for a metal carry pistol, SAR 7 is pretty legit. The EAA had many really nice pistols, but EAA had a collection of rifles and shotguns I think that a lot of us would really like. They have a they have multi-caliber shotguns. They have a and rifles. So they had a 308 and 12 gauge. Okay. And a 5.56 and I think 20 gauge. I don't remember. And then they had a 410 and 45 or something like that. And so you have a rifle barrel and a shotgun barrel. It's freaking awesome. And then they also showed a new EAA also has a new line of bolt guns, and one of them, the 308, had an amazing trigger for an off-the-shelf gun, especially a lower end off-the-shelf gun. I looked at a lot of side-by-side, or not side-by-side, but over-under shotguns for clay sports, bird hunting, that kind of thing. I came away pretty impressed with a company called Huge X. Legit, looks legit, pricing's good. The offerings from EAA, which are blue label, because Ruger's brought the red label back. They looked really good as well. I feel like that the EAA guns are going to do pretty well for starting or just occasional clay sport shooters that don't want to spend $4,000 on a shotgun. I think the selling point on those are $900 to $1,000, maybe less, for an over-under shotgun that looks good. I mean, they look great, and it's EAA, so they'll probably be decent shooters. You may get a bad one, but they'll swap it out. So EAA was very promising. Optic-wise, I talked to Olight. Olight's optics are pretty rad, pretty cool. And I had already bought one before I went to the show. I caught up with them, and they seem to be doing a lot of really good things. They seem to really like the feedback. The one thing, guys, that I want to stress to everybody is, the companies that I'm willing to work with, at least, they all want feedback. They want to know what works, what doesn't work, what broke, what kind of sort of broke. They want to know because they want to fix it. And I thought that was, that's one of the more legit things going on right now, in the gun industry is there's so much competition that these guys are absolutely willing to listen to you. They're absolutely willing um, to fix their guns if they're broken or whatever. They're great. So, um, and yeah, it was pretty good. Was there an issue with the first gen OSI? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know any. I didn't even know OSI I did not know that OSI made or Olight made OSI until early this year, and by that time, Olight and OSIght are two separate companies now. They share some technology, but they're two separate companies. And Olight is being run by some very smart, very capable individuals. So I don't know if there was an issue with them. All right, so I'm going to get into for this last bit really quickly. I'm going to make a segment that I can trim out and post so that that deals with the Alex Preddy issue. And that way, when I trim it and edit it, it will make sense. So to that end, welcome everyone to Gun Prattle. Today we're going to be talking about Alex Preddy and the situation in Minnesota and the way politicians have spoken about it and why that should or should not bother you. And I'm going to give my perspective on why I think that the politicians are so concerned about this. I could be wrong, of course. I hope I'm not. But if I am, so what? I'm an observer making an observation. Let's start with that. The most compelling point was made by President Trump, who said he just didn't like it. And he said this. If you remember the video, as he's getting into a helicopter, he's waiting to get into the helicopter to fly somewhere. A reporter asks him about it, and he says, Preddy had a gun and spare magazines. What could he possibly be doing with that? Why would he be a part? Why would he bring those? He was looking for trouble. It's nothing but trouble. And I'm paraphrasing here. But basically, Preddy was a problem. I've looked over this a couple of different ways, and actually, I absolutely 100% agree with President Trump on this. Preddy was a problem, and he was looking for a problem and looking to be a problem. Now, what's a problem with that, you ask? Well, as a concealed carry holder myself for a long time, and currently in a state where I don't need a concealed carry permit, however, I still remember everything I was taught. Rule number one is we don't interact with law enforcement while we're armed. And if we do, we let them know, hey, I'm armed. My gun is on my hip, is on an appendix, it's in the glove compartment, it's in the console, whatever. This is a very important thing that we do to keep ourselves safe. Not necessarily because cops hate guns and cops are maniacs and want to shoot people. No, it's because it's one armed man confronting another armed man and understanding that at any point in time, we might shoot each other. And nobody wants that. And so we responsibly act. And the way we act responsibly is we say, I'm armed. This is a very important thing. Very, very important thing. Preddy did none of this. Preddy went to a protest. That was a mistake in the first place. Now, do I think that it is wrong for him to go to the protest armed? Actually, no. I don't think that it's a problem for him to go to the protest armed. I think anybody can go to any protest they want armed. I kind of encourage it, as a matter of fact. The difference is what Preddy intended to do when he got there. We know that he was an Antifa follower. We don't know if he was part of Antifa. We don't know if he was part of the local group. We don't know anything about that just yet. And I'm not going to surmise. What we do know is he followed them, social media and other things. We know that Preddy himself has been in other protests. all appearances convey the idea to any reasonable human that Preddy, who left his ID and concealed carry permit at home, went to that street, to that location, to interfere and obstruct ICE doing their legal duty. Now, this is a very important thing. This is something very, very important to think about, because I don't care if you like it or not. If you obstruct a federal agent, that's a crime. If you obstruct a federal agent while armed, being armed is an enhancement to that crime. Yes, I understand you don't agree with it. Yes, I understand that there are lefties out there, liberals, centrists out there losing their minds right now because in their mind, I'm wrong. But I'm not wrong. And we all know that I'm not wrong. We all know and understand that this is how the world works. If I, as a responsible gun owner, go out today and I'm armed and I go pick a fight with a cop while I'm armed and I do not identify myself as armed, there's a better than normal chance of me getting shot. Now, personally, I think I could manage a situation in such a way that I wouldn't get shot. I don't want to try. So let's go back to where we started this. Preddy gets up in the morning, or maybe he didn't even sleep the night before. I don't know. But he decides to leave his house and he's going to go and interact with law enforcement officers while they perform their legal duties. It's already a crime. That's what he meant to do. You can say that, oh, he only meant to video. You can say that he was off to one side or whatever. Yes, at the start, that's absolutely right. If he had stayed there, there wouldn't have been a problem. We now know that his actual intent, let me back up. While we do not know for sure, it certainly seems like his actual intent was to obstruct the officers in the execution of their legal duties, serving warrants and arresting people. This is their legal duty. Interfering with an officer in the discharge of his legal duties and responsibilities is a crime. I don't particularly like that it's a crime, but it is in fact a crime. Now we have Preddy who is armed, and he approaches officers. Does Preddy say, I'm armed at any time? No. At any time does he say, I'm armed, I'm going to comply? Why, no. No, he does not. Now, I've been exceedingly charitable this entire time. From what I see, I don't actually see Preddy going out of his way to resist. I will be that kind. I see him discombobulated, CS gas. I've been pepper sprayed. I didn't like it. I see him kind of flailing about. That's what I see. I don't know what the officer saw. What the officer saw is someone that approached them, inserted themselves in their operation on purpose, did not identify that they had a weapon. That's what the officers are working with. The mechanics of how he got shot, I'm still unclear on. I've watched literally, I believe, every video. I have listened to many, many different breakdowns of this. I don't know that there are any that I 100% agree with, but I will stick to what I said originally. I think this is going to be ruled a justified or legal shooting. I believe that the officers are, while the officers could have been I don't know, somewhere else. They weren't. They were there. Preddy interacted with them, and this is what happened. It's a tragedy, but he could have been at home. He could have not chosen to carry his weapon. Now, this is important only in the fact that we have so many people saying that he was executed. That's not true. Let's just give up on that narrative. Stop it. You're better than that. You can call it abuse of authority, whatever. I can't get there, but maybe you can. What I can get, where I can get to, is that all of the politicians, Bovino, for example, saying this guy had a gun with spare magazines and he meant to cause problems. I'm paraphrasing. I agree with that. I think that that's true. I don't see anything that Preddy has done or does to make me think that he went there to actually peacefully protest. I don't understand. I have not seen one good argument, not one, that would change my mind. All right. So that's good. Kronos, how much appendix carry SIG P320? I carry one all the time. I've got I've been carrying a SIG P320 X carry for a few years now. I can absolutely do that for you. If you want to, however much money you want to send me, I'll do that. Correct. Cam the King, I agree with you. He woke up and I don't know if he chose death, but if he had stayed home, he'd be walking around here today. If he had stayed on the other side of the street, he'd be on here today. If he had simply said, I have a gun, I'm armed, I'm not resisting. If he'd said any of those things, probably be here today. The mental gymnastics are impressive. No, they're not gymnastics. I'm simply clarifying. I want to make sure that I'm very clear in that segment because I'm going to cut that down, and it's important to do that. Yeah. Once again, I will relate the story of how I literally had an officer with a firearm literally this far away, like right there in my face. And I'm still here. And it was because I had a gun. Literally, the officer said, "You have a gun." I'm like, yes, I do. And I'm not going to reach for it. I think it's very interesting how many people are just absolutely stupid when it comes to firearms. Just absolutely out to lunch. If I have I literally, I go to the gun store and I know that those fuckers are armed. And every single time I go to like pull my CCW out to show somebody or to unload it, so I, because maybe I'm trying a different holster out or something like that. Every single time that I do that, I literally look them dead in the eye and say, "Don't fucking shoot me." I swear to God, I look them right in the eye. Don't you shoot me. I'm not drawing my gun. I make t-shirts. I survived an armed female officer. There you go. I did. And I got to be honest, the only reason I'm here is because I was the calm one. I was literally the one that was like, let's slow this down. Ronos 420 throws in $2. You're brave, sir. The ND grenade at leg or bits. To be honest with you, whoops, that was already up there. To be honest with you, no. The P320s only go off in very specific manners and only if the trigger is interacted with. So you like what? Are we not men? Also, by the way, guys, if you're not aware, if you were on the An Unreasonable Man channel, you were there because I am dual streaming to both the Gun Prattle and the An Unreasonable Man channel. Please go, please go and like and subscribe to Gun Prattle. And go over to Kick and subscribe to Gun Prattle TV, where that's where we actually handle firearms. Today, I'm just doing a show. We're going to talk about, I've been talking about a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, go like, subscribe, do all the things. I look like a member of Devo. I don't actually see that, but whatever. Didn't they had like the cone head hats and all that. They did the Whip It Good song. I don't think I look like a member of Devo. I don't have my jawline. They just don't have my jawline. Good morning, unapologetic preacher, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in. Where I'm at, it is afternoon. I was on the range earlier today. I will be on the range tomorrow. No Gun Prattle tomorrow, I don't think. We'll be doing the standard day shift show. Marcus Munitions. It could be. You love Devo. I got you. Compliment, not an insult. I didn't think it was an insult. But yeah, we've got a yeah, so that's the deal on. Does anybody else have any other input on Dear Mr. Pretty? Because I think I covered that pretty well. I didn't see that. I saw a guy make an observation that it was a lot of mental. What did he say? Stand by. I'll find it. Mental gymnastics were impressive. If you believe so, please voice your concerns. Ah, yes, Andrew's on Joe Rogan. If you guys didn't know, Andrew is on Joe Rogan today or earlier today. What's up, Smoking Spaceman? You're finally home, can effectively participate. Solid work, man. So we're about 2 hours in. That's a little longer than I would normally go, but that's okay. So I have a question for everybody. Who has the best breakdown of the Pretty incident, do you think? I think it's close between Cullion War and Officer Tatum have the best breakdowns so far. Please stand by. My wife is calling. Sorry about that. My wife called. Officer Tatum or Congressman Herrera, did he win? I didn't think he won yet. The human body can take a beating because yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny. Tatum is a Zionist. I don't care. It's a weird observation. I like the Culling on War one so far. I may I may watch it again and not like it, but right now I like it. Right now I'm good with it. All right. Does anybody want to talk guns and want to come up and jump on to the stream for the last um, 20 or 30 minutes or so before I close this out? I was hoping Clover Tack would be around, but he probably literally just got home from SHOT Show. He drove back, and of course, the weather's been terrible. Virginia is pushing ahead with stricter gun laws, essentially making most semi-auto center fires illegal. Yeah, good luck with that. That'll get thrown down, and that's going to get thrown out in the Supreme Court. Actually, that's a great question. Why is it that states insist a, on trying to push through laws that they know are going to get struck down? That's crazy. Like, why would you do that? I mean, Virginia might be able to get it done though, because they do have kind of a mixed bag over there. No one? All right. We'll wait and see if somebody wants to come up. All right, so let's I don't know. Let's talk about what's coming up. So we got I have a match scheduled for this weekend. Let me see if it's an indoor or outdoor match. Um it's going to be cold here over the weekend. So we'll see what happens because it's gonna be cold. He calls himself one. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, go to the Gun Prattle channel. Go on over there. Go on now. All right, let's see. This weekend, it looks like I might be shooting at the Glock store. No, that's not true. No, that's not right. That's wrong. I'm on the wrong page. Sorry. Yeah, I got to get them watch hours up. We got to get um, we got to get the subs up, man. Might do a sub drive. I might do a membership drive. I might throw out some patches or something for members. I tend to differ to officers' opinion on these matters. I thought the whole point to have officers is so we can offload the intensive burden of firsthand experience and not all have to be subject expert. I kind of agree. Kind of agree with that. Which is also why I don't go messing around with cops. Sure, I've got a gun, so do they. But I'm not there to play cops. I'm just not. I played cops and robbers as a kid. So playing both channels, awesome, man. Appreciate that. I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah, I need to get the gun channel, pumped up. Hopefully, I was gonna have a interview with Kita Bussy again, but her daughter is not feeling well, and I'm not gonna lean on her to I'm not gonna lean on her to come over and or not come over, but to come on and hang it. It looks like there is, in fact, not a match this weekend. There may be a match that I can get into next weekend. I thought I had one this week, but I'll see. Maybe I'll go shoot him. Hey, it's Clover Tech. What's up, Clover Tech? I was just asking if anybody wanted to come up, and then here he is. He shows right up. The man, the myth, the incomparable SHOT Show guide of Clover Tech. The Indian guide for SHOT Show, one might say. That's true. That's true. Need to test some new earbuds? All right. I sent you the link, sir. I haven't really made any SHOT Show content. I need to, but it's I went there to work. I didn't really go there to actually grab content. And there he is, the man, the myth, the surly legend.
Sometimes.
How are you, man?
Well,
Recovered after that long ass drive?
dude, it was fucking horrible the other night. We didn't get home till
I
yet.
knew it would be.
Yeah, we got less than an hour away, and there was no way. No way. It was dark. It had gotten colder. Things refroze. There was no way. And
Yeah.
it sucks to go that far because that day we had drove 10 hours or something,
Mm-hmm.
and to be, probably not quite 10, but anyway, to drive that much and then get denied, less than an hour from the house sucks.
Yeah, it was.
What do you do? Hey, how's the audio?
Your audio is not bad. Not
Okay,
bad at all.
okay.
Not
Shouldn't.
bad at all.
I bought so I switched to the Mac, right? And
Yeah.
so I invested in some Shocks earbuds
I got you.
because my Sennheiser headset was going to be a pain in the ass to try to get it to work. So
Yeah, I mean, I had a hell of a time getting back just because of the flight. I literally was the last flight to land back in Nashville.
that's what you said, yeah.
And right at like a couple hours after I landed, they shut the control tower down because none of the ATC people could get to work.
Right.
Like it was too icy and shit. So they were just like, yeah, we can't get there. So they had to shut the tower down for lack of staffing. And then they shut down 24 because there were so many crashes in my area. So you couldn't have gotten through the interstate anyway.
Yeah.
If you were coming through here. So, but I was already home. I was,
Good.
it was fine. I just, I machined out another lower and I've got I'm putting that all together. And while I was over on the mill, I was doing some other small things that I think are cool and made it to the range today. Today was the first time that I've been able to get to the range, or I guess anybody's really been able to get to the range. I guess they were technically open the last 2 days, but they didn't have enough staffing to actually run the range
Right.
because they had, they only had like two. They need, I think, 4 people there where they need at least 3 people working the counter and 1 person in the range. And so they were like, if you were there, if you were a member and there was only 1 or 2 of you, you could go you could shoot the range. But if there were more than, I think their policy is if they have more than 4 people on the range, member or not, they have to have um, a staff out there. So they weren't really
Right.
running the range. But today was first time everything seemed to be back on full, you know, full staffing and everything. So I got to the range, shot a couple of 100, almost 200 rounds.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty good. Um, had to just had to get out and about. And then I did a bit earlier about the Pretty shooting,
Hmm.
and it was basically um, more addressing the way the politicians seem to be looking at it, and why I'm not really that upset about it, because I kind of get where they're coming from.
Right.
So, but you've been a concealed carry holder a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for real. 30 years
yeah. We're in that same
ish.
boat.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I first got my concealed carry permit, that I couldn't get it until I became a manager of the theater chain that I work for.
Really? Yeah. Well, that
You
sucks.
Well, back in the day in my town,
I just had to be 21. But
so I had to be 21 and I had to show that there was a reason I needed it.
oh yeah, you had may issue, not shall issue. Texas has been shall issue since they've
Yeah.
started doing it.
Yeah. So I had to go down and talk to the police chief
Yeah.
and basically tell him, hey, yeah, I carry large amounts of cash around for the
Right.
company, making deposits in the middle of the night, and I'd like to have a firearm. And they're like, yeah,
Right.
okay. So, um, but yeah, and so they actually took I think um, all of the concealed carry stuff now is with the sheriff anyway. They don't deal with the individual city police. So it's
Yeah.
and that we don't even have um, county carry permits or anything like that anymore. Everything's state.
Mhm.
So
Right.
and
Yeah.
you don't need it. If you want to go out of state to somewhere else that actually honors.
Yeah, because you guys, it doesn't act as the Knicks, right? Y'all have a secondary check, right, for buying when you buy a
Yes,
gun. Yeah.
yes. So I'm not even sure that we do Knicks, because I think, and
Well, you
I
have to, because that's a federal thing.
yeah, but we definitely do ticks.
Yeah. Well, you definitely do Knicks because
Yeah,
that's federal, and the
and
4473 is a federal form, so
yeah, so
the
it's
states
it
just
it seems to
piggybacking off
be
of it.
just exactly like the way Colorado works, which is,
Mhm.
and I hate this too. This is something that I would love it if somebody would take this up as an issue, because I think this screws firearm owners. So let's say that I come into your gun store, Clover Tack, and I want to buy a gun, and if you only run me through Nix, everything's fine, because Nix doesn't care about parking tickets. Nix doesn't care about court cases,
Right.
civil court. They don't care about anything. All they care about is if you've been convicted of X, or if you've been charged with X. That's it. They don't care about anything else. But Colorado's deal, and and here in Tennessee with ticks, they do a state level check. And so if you have and I don't know if this is a case in Tennessee, but in Colorado, if you have unpaid parking tickets, um, if you have a bench warrant because you didn't even know you needed to go to court, if you have anything,
Yep.
you're denied. And it's
That's
really
the
sad.
bad thing about a state system is it depends on how that state system is set up, right?
Yeah.
If it's set up shitty, it will fuck you over.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I've been very unhappy about that for a long time, and
as you should be.
it costs more because all right, so um, when I used to buy guns here when it was Nicks only,
Mm,
it was a $10 charge.
right.
But now that it's Nicks and Ticks, it's I think they start at $30 for your magazine.
That's we only have nicks here. If you do not have the license to carry, we only have the nicks, and 25 to 30 bucks is about the average rate for a transfer here.
Hmm.
That's
In
about what
Colorado, they
everybody
in
charges.
Colorado they to keep their state level, they had to keep they couldn't add on any extra charges, and the gun store could not make money off of it.
Right.
That's how they sold the state deal to the state, to the citizens. So
A lot of small shops, that's the only way they make money. They
yeah,
because they can't get distributorship, they can't get the pricing, and so
yeah,
what do? Well, they are basically they're a dealer, they're a transfer hub
hmm
for people. People buy it online, have it shipped to them. They go
hmm
pick it up, they pay their 20, 25, 30 bucks, whatever, and that's how those
hmm
FFL stay in business and make money. And without those, what the fuck are you going to do?
yeah.
That's the thing is you're dependent upon huge brick and mortars or whatever, and that's
Well, I
bad.
think
That's a
the
bad situation.
yeah, and I think I saw Smoking Spaceman. He did a quick check and said Tix interfaces with Nix. Yeah, absolutely. The problem is that let's just say that that I go in a Clover Tax store and I don't know it, but I've had a bench warrant for some stupid thing. Somebody sued me and I didn't go to court, or um, I had a mandatory appearance on a ticket, but I thought I just needed to mail it in or whatever. And whatever happens, right? This does happen to people,
Yeah.
and I don't know it, right? Like or maybe I do know it. Maybe I'm one of those people that are just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't really matter because I haven't paid my child support and I've got a court order out for me, whatever. And you walk into Wal. Let's say I walk into we'll leave CloverTech out of it. Let's say I walk into Walmart and I want to buy a shotgun that they got. They got I don't know, whatever the fuck they carry. I haven't looked at guns in Walmart in a long time. And Walmart, does the Knicks ticks, and they'll sit there and they'll say, "Hey, it's taking a little bit of time to come back. Can you just hang out for another 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever?" And eventually, an officer is going to approach you and he's going to arrest you. So I don't like that part either. I think that goes against what we were promised when way back when we agreed to Knicks. I think it's a deal breaker.
Yeah. It's all bullshit.
It is
You know what?
bullshit, but that's the bullshit that we put up with is that it would not be used against you if they ran Knicks, right? Um,
Yes.
but Tennessee always has. I know a guy that was he when I ran movie theaters, he was an employee of mine, and he went down and to buy a gun at a pawn. He bought a gun at a pawn shop,
Hmm.
and the pawn shop calls him up, or no, pardon me, I think it was the police department called him up and said, "Hey, you need to come down. You didn't do your fingerprint right or something, and just we've got your form here at the police station. Come down here." Guy goes down to the police station, gets arrested because he had written a check, uh, and shockingly, I think it was at Walmart or Rexall Drugs or somewhere like that. He had written a check, and the check had bounced, and so they had Walmart had they immediately like do a bad check thing for you, and they
Oh,
and the kid got arrested for a $20 check.
yeah, it don't happen around here, which is also
It
a
doesn't
bad
happen in
thing.
Colorado either. Colorado
But
can't touch
here,
it. But here, here
they're
they do.
so they've gotten so and there's very few bad checks anymore. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah. That
nobody
was. I mean,
does.
obviously, that was a
But
long fucking time ago.
yeah, but even so, I've been because I used to do, I had the DA was one of my accounts, and so I was in there pretty often doing work, and you just overhear things, and holy shit, the amount of people that would come in knowing that they had hot checks out and they would go straight to they would write a hot check, it would bounce, and then before anybody ever did anything like file charges or anything like that, they would go to the DA, tell the DA they wrote a hot check, and here's where they wrote it, and here's the amount, and the DA would basically set up terms on the shit. And of course, the DA would
Really?
get the county's fee. Yeah, the DA would get the county's fee and the other thing, but it was the most fucked up thing that I'd ever heard in my life. Like you would never go to jail. I mean, if you wrote a huge amount, maybe, but
Mm,
you would never go to jail for anything less than $1,000, something like that. Like you
hmm.
ain't going to jail. They're just going to make you pay it out. Now it's going to
Yeah,
be damn near loan shark, you know, um,
yeah. That's crazy.
cost. But
I
yeah,
I think so, and I don't know because um I don't think I ever had to deal with this, but the I remember when I was in college, the rumor was is that like Walmart at that time was one of the companies that would they just there was like zero room there, right? Like if you wrote a bad check at Walmart, you could just expect um, that not they would the minute it came back to them, they just went ahead and filed charges against you. They didn't wait. They zero fucks, right? So yeah. Unapologetic preacher says there was a time in this great land where you could go to Walmart at 3 a.m. and buy a 6-pack, a shotgun, and a live lobster. It's true, and it used to be that you could buy ammo 24/7, and I that's actually caught me out a couple of times because I didn't realize that they had changed that, and I went to buy ammo in Reno at like 6 a.m. or something, 7 a.m., and they were like, "Yeah, we don't sell ammo until 8 a.m. or some shit like that. They have to have a specific manager in to open to sell ammo." I
yeah,
didn't know that.
they got to have the keys to the thing. Is the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it was
the,
I think they had the keys, but the to actually sell it, they have to have a manager with the permit or whatever. That was in Nevada, so I don't know. I get around, man. I get around. And I can't keep all these laws straight either. But when I was at the gun store that with the range that I shoot at one day, they were talking about how they've had multiple people arrested at their after filing their 4473,
right.
and they'll just and all that happens is it just keeps saying. I don't think they send anything to the gun store saying that there's a problem. It just sits there and says processing forever, and then you know a cop shows up before it ends.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't. Now I was like 18 when the waiting periods went in, or 19. So Nix went in later, and I remember when everyone when we were voting for or against Nix, and the idea of Nix was that it would not be held against you if you went in and you had a record, or you had something out there that you wouldn't
Right.
be
Yeah,
targeted
it was
even if you were.
only certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they've obviously don't they give zero shits now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the whole idea behind Knicks, and it's way more expanded now than that, way more. And that's where, you give them an inch, they take a fucking mile.
yeah,
But
it's definitely
the
creepy.
whole idea was, hey, we need a way to tell if this person is a convicted uh,
Yeah,
felon, right?
yeah,
Well, that's a far different thing from do you have a warrant? That's a
yeah.
far
Right,
different
right. And
thing
that's
from a traffic ticket. That's a far
yeah,
different thing. Like,
Yeah.
are you addicted to
Well,
narcotics? Have you been adjudicated in a mental incident? Like all this other crap that they put in has
if you don't
nothing
pay
to
your
do
child
with the
support,
original. Yeah,
right?
child support. Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Uh-huh.
don't pay your child
Yeah.
support, the child support court puts
Yeah.
a bench warrant out for you because
Yep.
they automatically do it. Like they don't
Yep.
tell you, they just do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And the next time you get pulled over for,
Yep.
I understand. Look, I kind of get it. You're a deadbeat, and the next time you get pulled over for you're because you run a stop sign or you're speeding a little bit or whatever, the cop gets you, and then you're forced to come to court. I get it. I don't like it. I think it's bullshit. I don't think our country should work that way, and I especially don't think it should have anything to do with preventing you from buying a firearm. Right? Like, you know, it just shouldn't. Right? Now I understand how crazy that sounds. You can't pay your child support, but you're out buying a firearm. But maybe there's a reason a guy's not paying his child support. Or maybe he is paying it and his wife is reporting him as not paying it, and you don't know. I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to know. I just don't. I just don't get it. You're right. It's been expanded. It's just crazy.
Well, and
I
oftentimes, like my son-in-law ran into kind of that issue a little bit because he has not state mandated. He has agreements with like baby mama, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so it wasn't the state coming down on him or anything else. So it's one of those situations where if it was a situation to where they mutually agreed on it, right? They signed the
Mhm.
papers. They said here's the way we're going to do things. Then that's fine. I mean, the state has no say with that. But what can happen is baby mama gets upset. Baby mama goes and ignores the fact that there's a civil agreement. It says, hey, they're not paying, or they're not paying enough is what'll happen a lot of times.
Mhm.
Because they agreed on a number based on the current job or whatever, and then he
Mhm.
goes and gets. And I had a buddy that had this happen too. He went and got a new, he got a better job, much better job, and he had an agreement for X number of dollars, which they were joint custody any fucking way, you
Sure.
know. So he shouldn't have been paying anything, but they lived in the same town. They were, 1 week here, 1 week there. Um, but yeah, I mean, she, did the same thing. Like, oh, well, he's not paying enough now, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, wait a minute. There's an agreement.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what sucked is ultimately the state nullified that agreement, which is fucked up. Like that has nothing to me. That has nothing to do with the state. We got way
Yeah.
off the gun prattle. We ain't gun prattling.
Yeah. Yeah. We
That
got. Yeah. I mean, we started with Gun Prattle. We get
holy
to
shit, we
it.
got into being a criminal or
Yeah.
not
Well, I mean, that's
being treated like a criminal when you're not a
right.
criminal. I guess that's
Yeah.
pretty adjacent though.
Well, I just think that the original. I understood the original purpose of a NICS check, a simple check, a national database, so
Are
that you
you
could,
a
if you were
felon?
look, this is for anyone that doesn't know, the original purpose of NICS was if you were a felon in Tennessee and you drove down to Alabama and went in to buy a firearm,
Yep.
it, you know, they could run you through this national database and it would show that you were a felon, and that's it. That was it. That was only supposed to be the thing. Now what's happened is the states have put their own version. Some states have put their own version in. I think Alabama actually only does NICS. Texas may only do NICS, um, but Colorado does NICS and CBI, and you're more likely to fail the CBI. I literally know somebody who failed because of parking tickets. Can you imagine failing your background check to buy a firearm because of parking tickets? That's crazy. That's insane. It's not un-American. But
Yep.
but at any rate, yeah, I mean, I just think the way the government has expanded is pretty damn irresponsible. We need to get it.
Yep.
So, did you see calling on the Preddy shooting? You seen what he had to say about
I
it?
haven't paid any attention to any of that.
Yeah.
Like I don't even
I've
again.
been literally debating it since it happened,
I
and
just got home yesterday.
yeah, I knew
So
that.
I don't know any. I know nothing, man. Like, and honestly, I got some this shit going on that needs to get done. That whatever
Mhm.
that I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I get that,
At
man.
the end of the day, I know
Ah,
you do because you got to go, over on the other channel and argue it and whatever. That's great, but
yeah, yeah. I've been
like
well. I
I don't give
mean,
a shit.
yeah. I mean, I just did a bit on it, and I basically, you have um, Trump coming out and saying that the guy had a gun, semi-automatic pistol, two loaded magazines. He was up to no good. He doesn't like it, and a lot of people are taking that as anti 2A when I actually think it's pro ICE. Right? It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment at all. It's just pro ICE, and I it took me a minute to kind of wrap my head around this, but and especially like Bovino, when Bovino said in his press conference that what tripped me to this political mindset is Bovino in his press conference says he had the pistol plus two extra mags. He was loaded up. He was up to no good, and um, he was armed and ready to cause a problem or something. I'm paraphrasing, and I had to think about that because originally I had knee jerked and said these are a bunch of anti 2A normal cop sort of deals here that just they just don't like citizens with guns. They agree that you can have them, they just don't want you to have them outside your house. And that's kind of where I went originally, but I think it's separate from that. I think that when you look at the overall picture of it, Preddy left his house, left his ID and his CCW at home, um, and instead of just standing around documenting or doing something where I could kind of say, well, he's not involved, he's observing or he's participating in a protest, he involved himself in police affairs while carrying a gun. And I know that you have probably told somebody in the course of giving them a CCW class, or maybe you've heard it while you were taking your CCW class, that when you're armed, you don't get involved with law enforcement if you can help it. And if you do, the first thing you say is, I'm armed, you know? And, um, and this guy went out purposefully to involve himself
Yeah.
in disrupting legitimate law enforcement activity.
Hmm.
So
Right.
that's a problem. That's a real problem.
Yep. Yeah.
And
If you're
now I
going
see now,
to,
now I can actually articulate what I think the politicians are annoyed about.
if you're going to protest, I think that if you're going to protest in a way that can be agitative, I guess would be the
Mm-hmm.
way I would put it.
Yeah.
Um, then probably not a good idea to carry. You know.
Right. And
Um,
even when the officer confronted him, rather than saying, I'm armed, waste, or whatever, he continues to resist. He gets sprayed, and at that point it's all over, honestly. I won't go that he was I don't know that he was purposefully resisting arrest. I just think I've been sprayed with pepper spray before, and I'm telling you, it sucks.
mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and so I think he was just kind of flailing around. But that's me being very generous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never Lucky says that Kenosha Kyle played it perfectly. Yeah, I mean, well, he got ignored by the cops. Like they just didn't care. They were like, "Yeah, it's just a white kid with a gun. Who cares?"
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Well, he was not. Again, we get back into the agitation factor, right?
yeah,
Um, Kyle was not an agitator. That was the thing.
he had his hands up, saying, "I'm armed."
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
cops like, "Yeah, we can see that. Whatever."
Yeah. Now, had Kyle been agitated in some way,
Yeah,
then that would I think we would have seen a whole different thing. But
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
that was nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think Pretty was dumb. I think he intended to go out and cause problems, and he went out and caused problems, and that
Like
did not.
I don't have a problem with the you know, law enforcement audit,
Yes,
whatever type thing. I have no problem with that. Don't get
yes,
me wrong. I'm just saying that's an agitative endeavor.
hmm
And I don't even know, or an aggressive in a way endeavor. And
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
aggressive.
don't do it. By all means, do it. Go
I'll
keep
say it.
people. That's fine if you do it. But
I will say it. Do
but when you're
not.
carrying and you're having that, you have that. That's just a bad
I
cocktail to
mean,
me,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, look, I will say it out loud. Do not mess with cops when you're carrying a gun.
Yeah.
Cops do not now I'm not saying all cops, but a lot of cops really don't like armed citizens around them. They don't know you, they don't trust
Uh-huh.
you. They don't, they don't they do not have a positive experience with armed individuals.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? And so the again, I think the first thing to do in every single case is, officer, I'm armed. So I think
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't
where,
know. I mean, maybe if they approached you, but if you're an agitator, if you're being aggressive, the
yeah.
play is to not have it in the first fucking place. That's the
Well,
only
and
play.
and that's exactly, and so that's actually,
Like I get it. If Grid's walking down the street and something weird happens, and the cop comes over and starts asking some questions. Yeah, I
mhm,
mean, for me, I mean that situation, I would probably disclose if I wasn't already open carrying, or carrying in a way that they knew anyway. I would probably disclose, just so that they felt better. But then you got to be careful with that too. You got to be careful with
yeah,
how you present that, and a lot of people get in trouble for that because I've seen dash cam footage and stuff before, and body cam footage where the person goes, "I've got a gun," and I'm like, "Whoa, shit, hold on, no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
no, no,
That's
no."
not how to say that.
It's like, hey, I've got a lot, just so you
Let's
know,
talk about the right and
I'm
wrong way of doing
I've got a
things.
license. I've got a license to carry. Is usually what I'll say.
Yeah,
And then if they want to follow up with where's it at or something, I go, hey, right hip, or
yeah, yeah,
whatever. And most of the time they're like, well, as long as you don't, most of the time I'll say I've got a license to carry, and they'll say, as long as you don't reach for it, we won't have a problem. I'm like,
that's,
okay,
and a lot of times
yeah,
I get pulled over. So I was saying that, I was talking about last night. I was like, so I was driving a car. I've been pulled over with guns many times, and
yeah,
I've had an officer pull their gun on me, and so now I don't do any of that. And so I had
yeah,
an officer in Utah pull me over. I knew we were going to get pulled over as a DUI checkpoint. The minute I drove by that car, I knew he was going to pull us over, because
yeah,
we're four dudes, out of state tags, Friday night. There's just no damn way in hell we're not getting pulled over, right? He's
right,
going to do a sobriety check on us. That's the way it is. Fine. So he pulls us over, say, hey, you kind of wobbly while you're changing lanes back there. I'm like, yeah, it's a little foggy out here. I don't want to run into somebody, whatever. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, okay. He asks all the normal, have you had anything to drink tonight? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nope, don't drink. Never have. Okay, well, license and registration, and we'll, get you on your way. And I'm like, okay. I'll give you my license, but my registration and insurance are in the glove compartment with my gun, and I don't think you want me reaching there. He's like, nope, I don't. And he walked, well, he was at that window anyway. So um, the kid that was sitting in the window, or sitting in that seat, was like, that guy, he was like leaned way back, and the officer opened the glove box and took out the gun and cleared it. And then he took out the license and
oh
register,
wow, that's fucked up.
or the registration and
That's fucked up, man. I mean, taking it out, sit it on the dash or something, maybe, or sitting it on the
yeah,
roof, but clearing it,
yeah.
I'd have been uncomfortable with that. Hold
I
on a
didn't.
minute,
I
motherfucker.
was just like, yeah. I was just like, yeah. It's not really the right thing to do, but you know.
Well, that just goes to show you how interactions can vary depending on
Yeah,
officers, right? That was
yeah.
not a seasoned officer. He wouldn't have done, and it certainly wasn't an
He's a
officer that
DUI guy.
respected
He's a
wasn't
DUI.
an officer that respected the Constitution and the fucking property rights, or he wouldn't have fucked with your shit. He'd have just took it out and
Right.
made sure he put it where it wasn't accessible to you. And then other than that, you know, um,
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so again, I mean, look, man, it's a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get,
yeah,
and so, but yeah, I don't mess around with police. I just don't have I see no advantage to giving someone a reason to shoot me.
I, I've gotten pulled over more than once, with filming or whatever, and you
Mhm.
take 8, 10, 12, sometimes it's just range events or something like that. And, I'm up, in the teens for sure and get pulled over. Oh my God, that is so much fun. Here probably wouldn't be fun elsewhere, but around here, cause they're like, they pull up and I'm like, you know, you may want to let me out. We walk to the back of the vehicle. They're like, why is that? They're like, well, I'm coming back from the range and there's about 20 guns in here. They're like, are any of them loaded? I'm like, no, none are loaded, but, you know,
Yeah.
you may feel more comfortable. And they're like, okay. And usually they open the door at that point and I get out and, we walk to the back of the vehicle and, do
Yeah.
whatever. And most of the time it ends on the side of the road showing off guns most of the time. He's like, what else in
Yeah.
there? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I've had my share of that kind of thing too. Um, P320s won't go off if you just drop them on the roof. That's very funny. The legends of the 320. That's hilarious. It's pretty funny right now.
Right.
I am finding it more and more hilarious. I'm probably the only one, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
that's why they're saying that the P320 could have started the Civil War. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently I haven't heard the audio. I've seen enhanced video, which I don't believe, but I've seen where they had it looks like the 320, the trigger, the cop had his finger on the trigger, may have
Yeah.
indeed into the ground.
Yeah. The
So
whole 320 thing, I'm over it anyway.
yeah,
I never was a big SIG fan, and I've started to kind of come around to it when all that started to happen, and I'm over it. So
I like my P320, but I mean I've spent so much money on that thing.
right.
So, but I don't know if I've told you. I was talking earlier about my love hate relationship with the P320. It's one of those things where I'd buy one and I'd use it for a while, and then without fail, it just they're not accurate. Some of them aren't accurate. The triggers feel mushy to me. I never liked the trigger in them. They have a little bit of a weirdness to them when you're dry firing them. I was just like,
Um,
I just don't know. Can't get.
changing, not changing the subject completely,
Yeah, yeah.
but when you went to the range that shot the indoor, the
Mhm.
trailer,
I never went there.
um,
I started to, but I didn't.
oh, you never did go?
No,
Oh, you should have.
I had to pass for you, but
Damn it, you should have. I thought you went. I thought you went. You had an extra one or something.
no, I had two. The guy at Canic
Yeah.
gave me two.
Well, damn it. I thought maybe you went and shot.
Mm-mm.
I was going to ask what you thought about that. That's a pretty neat setup.
It is a really neat setup. My buddy was running it. I wish I had gone over now. So
What were you going to shoot in there? The Prime?
whatever the new Canic is, the Mete or Prime or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Mete Prime. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they had it over there, and I could have probably shot anything else over there too.
I run into Adam uh, with Canic. He was actually in the Century booth, which was interesting, but um,
Well, Canic
and
and Century imported the Canic originally.
yeah. But he is no longer. He is primarily Canic now.
Ah, gotcha.
That's what I was getting at, not Century. But
Hmm.
anyway, um, which was kind of weird. He was over there, but I mean, that's his friends and whatever. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Um, the last day, Friday, and so he's supposed to be sending me a Prime. We'll see.
Yeah, I got to start making calls this week. I got to call. I got an inch of
I
cards
would, I would. So, pro tip: I wouldn't do anything until next week,
next week.
and even then, I would be mindful that Great American Outdoors and EWA and
Mm,
everything else is going on. So, one of the biggest things that people with shot is they'll come out of shot and they'll feel like they've been ghosted after they only email one time, and you know what I
mm,
mean. And they're like, oh, send them an email and I didn't hear back and they're ghosting
yeah.
me. And they don't realize that, especially with the weather, a lot of folks are delayed. I know folks that still aren't home. Um, and so, but then you've got EWA, and then you've got also, holy shit, you've got EWA, you've got MBS, and you've
Mhm,
got Great American Outdoor all going on in the next couple of weeks as far as shows.
mhm,
Um, so with all of that going on, I mean, it happens. So I usually wait, um, not the a week, Monday after week, at the very earliest before I start sending anything
mhm.
out, and even then I'm patient because it's nuts.
I'm gonna reach out to Alpha Foxtrot about
Yeah,
getting my slide fixed first, and
right.
then um, see if they want to do it. I we'll see if I can get an interview with those guys. I don't know if they're going to want to do a whole lot, um, but and it may partner with me. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
They're kind of like I have like and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like 5 a week, just contact and not batch email everybody. I just think that's bad idea, and I may do more, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think and I knew that it was going to be a couple of weeks. Um, so now, do you go to the Great Outdoor Show or any of that, or
I did
you're
not go to Great American because it's a 10-day thing.
mm,
The vast majority is outdoor related campers and
mm,
boats and bullshit that I
yeah,
do
yeah,
not care one bit about. So I don't go to that. And then EWA is overseas. EWA's
hmm,
in Germany, and that would be fucking cool. But a couple of things about EWA. Number one, you would have to get, which I probably could. It would be expensive to go, obviously, but I could probably get a pass through some company that I work with, and it would be kind of cool. But also hear that you're suit and tie over there,
mm.
so it's a really interesting thing
I
and
brought
being
my suit and
international.
tie. I didn't get to wear it.
And then I mean NBS, that's a dealer. Uh, uh,
Mm,
a distributor, I should say,
yeah,
show. And I've been to NBS before, and it is from a media standpoint, it's boring as fuck.
yeah,
So it's in Fort Worth, so it's not terribly far away. Um, and that can be kind of cool, just to go and hang out or whatever. But
hmm.
yeah, it is not. You're not going to get any content or then and the marketing guys. It's all sales people. There's no
So
marketing people there or anything.
I was actually criticized a little bit by because I didn't really get any content or anything at Shot, and I was like,
Criticized by
every
who? Somebody who fucking
yeah,
understands.
yeah, just some other people. And I was like, well, I don't think you understand. It's really loud, and all of the content that I've seen from Shot kind of sucks. Like it's
Yeah,
and they do it
you
in
have to
very
do it in
short.
a yeah, you have to do it in a weird way. So first of all, you have to have mics with good noise canceling. And if you do,
Yeah.
then it's really the noise is not a problem. The noise, a little bit of noise is also the ambiance that it sets an ambiance that it's at a show. So it's
Mhm.
really not
Yeah.
that bad, assuming you've got good quality microphones with noise canceling. So that's number one. Number two is that everybody and their fucking dog goes, and especially newbies,
Mhm.
especially the folks that have gone for the first time. Maybe they've only gone a couple times. They're not really plugged into, the industry.
Yep.
Uh, Whether they're just stupid or inept or they're introverted or whatever reason, they're not plugged into the industry after years. But those people do just your standard booth video, right?
Yeah,
And
there are.
to me, those are boring as fuck. There are people that like them, but they're
Yes,
boring as fuck.
yeah, that's
And
that's
so,
exactly what my opinion was. Is
um,
they were too loud
yeah,
and they were
yeah.
boring as fuck.
Yeah. Now there is interesting ways, I think, in the two videos, maybe two, that I'll drop. Well, I'll have three because I'll have one from a range event that I plan on doing, and then I've got two from the show floor. But the way that I did it is, and I'll probably do that from my show videos moving forward. If I do any content, it will be a multi-pronged thing, so
Mm,
multi-product thing. So what I did is I said, well, you've seen the English, the SDS, the English high power
mhm.
2035. So that fucker's sweet. And so I did a video with that, and then what I did, and because usually the booth videos are not that long, and so and you can edit them down even shorter if you need to, but so what I did is I said, "Oh yeah, this is Delta Point Pro footprint on the optic. So now we got need to go find an optic to fit this." So then what I did is I went downstairs to a company that I knew had Delta Point an optic that was Delta Point Pro footprint, and so I did a video on that or a booth video with that, and so I'm going to smash those two together. You feel what I'm saying? So instead of it
Mhm.
just being
Yeah,
one boring fucking booth video, it's, hey, this is a cool gun. Oh shit, we need to, but you're going to have an optic for it. Let's go
yeah,
find that too. So it's a little bit different than just a regular monotonous droning booth review. So um, I don't know. We'll see how it goes over, but um, I mean, I have no problem when I do, and I did not do it for shot. I really don't have any problem selling mid-roll ads on just normal booth videos, but the problem with that is I watch them and they're boring as fuck. Like I don't like doing
yeah. I
them,
mean,
I
I
don't
thought
like
they would
editing
be
them, and I
boring.
don't like watching them.
Well, I had two issues. First, I was moving the whole time, and I thought they would be boring. Those
Yeah,
two things. So, all
yeah.
right, guys, if you haven't already, click the link um, that I just posted. Make sure you subscribe to Gun Prattle. I know some of you are over in
Heck
the
yeah.
other stream. You are over in the Unreasonable Man stream, which is fine. But I'm going to stop co-streaming these. I did YouTube. I had Kick going because I was going to do some gun stuff, just shut the camera off on YouTube. However, for whatever reason today it would not work. I've got to figure out how I did it before and do it that way again.
All right.
But at any rate, I got to go. I got to get out of here. I got things to do. It was a great day at the range today. I'll be at the range again tomorrow. I'm not really sure um, if the I'm not really sure if the show will happen tomorrow. I'm planning on doing a normal day shift show tomorrow, but we may leak some
Did
gun
you get
prattling.
her? Did you get her rescheduled, or is it up in the air at this point?
I don't know. Kita's daughter's like not feeling well. She may have um it's a Hashimoto's thyroid,
Mm, okay.
and there so she's not feeling good. I mean, her daughter's not feeling good, so she's concerned about that. I'm gonna just I'm gonna reach out to her today and see if she's gonna do it. Um, but
Yeah. Well, just get it
uh,
redone.
if if she can't do it, I'm going to um, I'm going to reach out and see if I can get somebody else on. That just a quick fill in, and maybe I'll do that on tomorrow night. Maybe that'll be my Thursday night show.
Right.
Um, I meant to ask you at the show. I never really did have time to properly talk to the Bursa guys, but I'd really like to talk to the Bursa guys about getting one of their
Yeah, I
um,
can get you that. I can get
2011.
you that contact, but I'll tell you that really needs to be done in person with them.
I know,
Some
but
companies are okay, but I mean, it's not
I we were
altogether horrible to do it through email and other things. But
yeah.
with Bursa in particular, they're really big on the personal relationship
Yeah.
side of it.
Well, I'm
But
not. I
you've
mean, I'm
got,
not
but
ready
you've
for
got,
anything yet.
but you've got NRA coming up in Houston for too long. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
always make that.
I'm not. I mean, I just want to kind of talk to him a little bit,
Yeah,
and see, just see what we can maybe do together.
and even
I was
and
really
even
busy the
if
whole time, so.
even if you just came into Houston
Hmm.
for the that Saturday, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But
Hmm.
even if you just come in for Saturday, like the NRA stuff is not nearly the size of the shot.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
um, you could get quite a bit done in one day. I think you'll come in the night before, leave late that evening, the next evening or something.
yeah,
Leave come in late Friday and leave late Saturday, and I think you could get quite a bit done there if
yeah,
you needed to.
yeah. I need to check the dates on that and see what's going on. But
And it's easy to get into that. You just go, hey, I'm media.
yeah,
Basically, I need a media
right.
pass. I need this
Yeah,
many media passes. Actually, is what you do.
yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Hopefully you subscribe to Gun Prattle today, and if not, I don't know why you didn't, because the link's right there in front of you. I got to get out of here. We're gonna go have a good time doing some other stuff. Also, still gun related, just not in my studio. Clover Tech, thanks for jumping up, man. It's always a good
Yeah.
time, and I'm glad you got back
Anytime.
safe. And we'll be talking to you again soon.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else, have a great rest of your day. Go shoot something and not someone. Don't shoot shoot something. See you guys.